Harper Audio presents Night Diver by Elizabeth Lowell. Performed by Justine Eyre. Prologue. The moment Kate Donnelly heard her brother's too cheerful greeting on the phone, she wished she had let the call go to voicemail. She loved Larry, yet right now she had nothing but bad news for him. And fear. "I hope you're calling to tell me that everything is fine," she said.
"If you were down here, everything would be fine."
"No," she said, more curtly than she had meant. "I just finished a job with a very nervous gallery owner."
"Then what you need is a little vacation on white sand beaches, blue sky, warm sea, and—"
"No." Cold chills rippled from Kate's nape to her fingertips. The ravishing tropical paradise of St. Vincent was the heart of her nightmares.
"Come on, Kate," he said impatiently. "Get over it. It happened almost 15 years ago."
"You weren't there. I was."
"No. You won't have to get near the water. Cross my heart."
And hope to die. She forced herself to take a slow, deep breath, then another, as she listened to her brother's pleas. Finally, the urgency beneath his coaxing penetrated to the deeper, older nightmare of the death of her parents. She began listening instead of staring out the window of her condominium at the haze of humidity and car exhaust. Larry's voice was both hoarse and sharp over the crackling satellite connection.
"We're at the point where you can't do things from there anymore. We need you here."
"Anymore? I've barely started. I only got those files 2 days ago, and I've hardly begun to put them in order after I work on my own business all day. And calling them files is charitable. Rotting cartons of receipts and shopping lists are not files."
"I know. I'm sorry. It took more time than I thought to get stuff together. You know that I never was good with papers and numbers."
"You're in charge of the salvage business," she said. "You have to keep books or hire someone to do it for you."
"Look, I've kept it afloat since you ran out. Grandpa hates records, much less balance sheets. Everything I know I learned from you before you bailed. I'm a diver, not a businessman."
Kate closed eyes that were an echo of St. Vincent's clear turquoise water. "I've known about your lack of interest in bookkeeping since I was 10 and started keeping the ledgers for Moonrose Limited." Their family salvage business had never been wealthy, but it had kept them in food and living quarters.
"No doubt about it. You got all the number smarts in the family. That's why we need you. Please, sis. If you don't help us, we're going under, and you know that will kill Grandpa."
She felt the door to the trap closing softly, relentlessly, like sinking into warm salt water. She couldn't live with herself if the family business went bankrupt because she was too frightened to revisit the scene of her nightmare. "I'm barely living with myself now. Running hasn't ended the nightmare. Maybe facing it well. Certainly there's nothing in North Carolina to hold me right now, not even a houseplant, and I've been promising myself a vacation." She shuddered lightly. St. Vincent wouldn't be a vacation. It would mean facing things she'd been running from her entire adult life. Part of her, the part that was no longer a teenager, knew she had to get over the past. The rest of her wailed in remembered terror. Do flies trapped in amber scream? Sunset flowed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of her Charlotte condo, making the room hotter than it should have been, but it was cold in the shadows of her mind.
"You've at least had a chance to read the contract, haven't you?" Larry asked.
"Enough to know that you shouldn't have signed it," she said, sensing she'd lost the fight, but not wanting to give up.
"Beggars can't be choosers. It was sign up with the Brits to salvage that maybe Spanish wreck or sell the boat. That would have—"
"Destroyed Grandpa, I know," she finished tiredly. "Larry, I advise small businesses, not past miracles. You should have called me before you signed that contract."
"We tried, but you were in the Yukon working with those native carvers. You got them going in a business, so we should be a piece of cake after that. Kate, please, you're our last hope."
She closed her eyes and fought against what she was afraid was going to happen anyway. "Hope? I don't know how you're putting diesel in the tank right now. Was your advance on expenses approved?"
"Not yet. The Brits are sending C. Holden, some kind of fancy accountant, out to evaluate whether the dive is worth the advance. We're heading into the stormy season."
Icy fingers tapped down her spine. "I know about the storms in St. Vincent," she said tightly.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?